Hello, welcome to Logosophy TV. My name is Nelson Belen, and on today's episode, we're going to talk about a topic which, for me, has been one of the most important and fundamental aspects of the science of Logosophy. It's a concept that has completely changed my life, and really, once you absorb the depth of what I'm about to talk about, your life is never the same. What we're going to talk about today is the logosophical concept of thoughts. Now, there would be no way for me to talk about this topic in the short amount of time that we have, but to try to cover as much as we can, we're going to discuss three areas in particular. One, what are thoughts in Logosophy? Two, why it's essential that we know our thoughts. And three, how can we start to know our thoughts? And after this talk, you should hopefully have a good starting off point for you to begin your own investigation into the concept of thoughts. So first, what are thoughts? Well, if you were here with me right now and I asked you that question, I'm sure many of you could give me an answer. Many of you might say, well, a thought is an idea or an opinion, a memory or some desire. Whether you're aware of it or not, some of you are having thoughts right now, such as, well, I have no idea what this guy's talking about, or this guy's the greatest speaker I've ever heard. All of this gives us a broad understanding of what thoughts are, but it only barely touches the surface of what a thought is in Logosophy. In Logosophy, thoughts are something far, far greater. And the best way for me to explain this would be to quote the author of Logosophy, Gonzalez Picocci, from his book, Initiation Course into Logosophy. And in that book, Picocci said, thoughts are autonomous entities which usually act independently of the individual's will. Now take a moment to unpack all the elements in that small phrase, small in size but big in meaning. Thoughts are autonomous entities which usually act independently of the individual's will. Now, there's a lot in there, but I want to focus on two words specifically. Those two words are autonomous and independent. Now, this is probably a big change from anything that you have ever heard about thoughts. Why? Because if you're like I was, you believe the thoughts in your mind, whatever you want to call it, ideas, opinions, beliefs, you believe those thoughts are all your thoughts. Importantly, you probably believe that you created them and you control them. But the fact is, these thoughts, many of them are not yours. Many of them act on their own and are not under your control at all. If you're doubting this, the easiest example I could give you would be to look at any advertisement, any commercial, any TV commercial, or any salesperson. What are they all trying to do? They're all trying to plant a thought, this entity, right, into your mind. And in this case, the thought is usually something like, well, if you buy this TV or if you buy this car, this cell phone, you will be happy. This thought was not created by you, but in many cases, it will make you act. And this leads us right into my second point. Assuming that thoughts are independent, autonomous entities, well, so what? Why is it important for me to know and understand these thoughts? Well, the reason is our conduct, our behavior, our actions, they all stem from the thoughts that we have. So if our thoughts are independent, it's very possible that they can act against our self-interest. They can cause us to act in detrimental and damaging ways. Let's look back at the last example I just gave about advertising. How many people buy a new car or a new TV, and not only do they not really need one, but they can't even afford it? There are more people in debt today than ever before, and this almost brought down the whole world economy in 2008. This is an example of our thoughts acting against our self-interest. Take a moment and prove this for yourself. Have you ever done or said anything which you regretted right after you said or did it? Or how about this? Have you ever done or said anything which you knew you shouldn't do as you were doing it, but you did it anyway? If you can relate to this, and if you're honest, I know 99% of you can, then you have lived the experience of a thought literally taking you over and making you act against your self-interest. These thoughts are driving our lives, and for most of us, we're just passengers along for the ride. Now ask yourself, is that the kind of life that you want to live? Just being led by the thoughts of your parents or your friends or the TV and the internet, completely unconscious to the thoughts that are in your mind, thoughts that are literally creating your reality. That certainly was not the life I wanted, and if you've watched this far, I don't think that's the life you want either. But until I was introduced to Logosophy, I never knew there was a specific method for me to know about this internal world of my thoughts, which now brings us to my final point. By now, you're probably saying to yourself, okay, I sort of understand what thoughts are in Logosophy, and I see why it's important. How? How can I start this process of getting to know the thoughts? Notice I say process because there is no magic pill or a quick fix or hack or do this and in 21 days you will know how to create and control your thoughts. No, that doesn't exist. But we can be taught how to identify thoughts, select those that benefit us, and at the same time get rid of those that harm us. We can learn to create new thoughts that help us to build our values, construct our character, and create a new life. More importantly, we can do all this consciously. So to go back to the question as to how we can start to learn about the thoughts, one of the best things we can do is start acquiring knowledge. You're doing that now by watching this video. You're learning about the science of Logosophy, which has brought us this new, profound concept of thoughts. And with this new knowledge, you are now a little more aware of the thoughts in your mind than you were 10 minutes ago. In the end, Logosophy is not going to resolve any of these issues for you. It's not a religion or a new belief system or some dogma that will supposedly give you all the answers. Logosophy gives you the tools to be able to discover the answers yourself, because ultimately you are the only one who can answer those questions. Logosophy gives us the knowledge, but this is only the first step, because the only way that we can gain real knowledge is by actually practicing and applying it. And if you're the kind of person who has watched this video to the very end, I know you're the kind of person that cares about this and that understands the importance of taking action. So what I would encourage you to do now is don't believe anything I've said. Go out and learn on your own. We have so many resources about Logosophy, books and videos on our website. And of course, we have Logosophical foundations and schools located around the world. So thank you for watching. I hope this video has given you a good jumping off point for you to start learning and experimenting and proving this new concept of thoughts for yourself. I think the best way for me to end this would be with another quote from Gonzalez Picocci from another of his books, Introduction to Logosophical Cognition. And in that book, he says, man, in order to become truly master of himself, must have control over his thoughts. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you again soon.